What I found out on Christmas Day 1984, through biochemical evidence, was that telomeres could be lengthened by the enzyme we call telomerase, which keeps the telomeres from wearing down. After I found that out, I went home and put on Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA, which was just out, and I danced and danced and danced. I never really did Christmas before. Christmas Day, I mean, what's that? What's it all about? I was always flying on Christmas Day. I was in Atlanta for 9 years and we never got to play on Christmas Day. In the spring of 1994 I decided not to seek re-election to the Senate. I had made the decision 12 years earlier, Christmas Day of 1982, just after I had been first elected to a full term, that I would do the best I could for a limited time. Things change, your priorities change in life. So I'd never think of riding 100 miles on Christmas Day now, because I've got 2 kids, and it's selfish. I actually feel sorry for people who have nothing to do on Christmas Day other than watch an NBA game. This is what footballers are used to. You're used to playing matches throughout the Christmas period, so for us it doesn't feel weird. We're working on Christmas Day and we've always done it. Miramax seems to be showing the same faith in Roberto Benigni's Pinocchio that the Republican Party showed in Trent Lott, the live-action version of Carlo Collodi's fairy tale about the wooden puppet whose only ambition was to be a real live boy was sneaked into theaters Christmas Day. If I'm obsessing over an idea, it could be Christmas Day and I'll disappear and go and think about it for ages, or wake up at 4 a.m. and be writing in the notes of my phone. Christmas Day we get all the dogs and the cats and make breakfast and open presents and then go to the backyard, because it is always like 100 degrees in LA. And we get a speaker and play fun 80s music and dance outside with all the animals. I was doing a tour of the Batman live stage production, and I challenged the cast to join me to run. One time, we were running in Switzerland just before Christmas, and it was heavy snow. Another time, we were running down the Seine in Paris on Christmas Day, and we all had Santa hats on. YouTubers don't really have holidays, even at Christmas, as people want to see what you do on Christmas Day. I would never impose my styling on anyone on Christmas Day because it's the one day of the year I need off as well. As a manager I always trusted my players on Christmas Day. I did not see any point in dragging them into the training ground, a 3-hour round trip for some of them on icy roads, when they could relax with their families instead. Did you know that Christmas Day is absolutely the best day to fly? It is. No crowded airports and crowded planes. I always flew to Australia. That's what Christmas was for me, a plane journey to the next tournament. There's a new holiday tradition in my life, and it comes with an open-door policy. Starting at 11 a.m. on Christmas Day, friends, family, whoever, is welcome to swing on through my place. I'll be cooking and drinking from morning till night. My dad's a firefighter, so I know what it's like for policemen and firefighters to be on their own on Christmas Day. Christmas Day itself hasn't always been great. My parents went abroad when I was very young, and I went to boarding school. We had a few Christmases before that. I remember a big sack of presents and mummy cooking goose. Now that I'm an adult and have a big say in what we eat on Christmas Day, turkey doesn't even make it onto the starting grid for consideration. It isn't just my least favorite meat, it's my least favorite protein. You know how on Christmas Day, the day feels different, even if you're just sitting in your chair waiting for your girlfriend to put her face on and you haven't even started any of the festivities yet. The day still feels different. The electrons are fatter and pushier. Felixstowe, the United Kingdom's largest port, stops work only for Christmas Day and for crane-toppling Force 9 gales. I'll cook at my house on Christmas Day and my mom will come by. I don't know yet what I'll be making. I'll probably do a roast of some kind. Maybe a tenderloin. My family loves that. My daughter is a vegetarian, so I will do something special for her. I remember being led to a shed by my father for the unveiling of a beautiful bicycle, equipped with stabilizers, on Christmas Day. I must have been 4 or 5 and realized that this was my first ride into independence. I eat everything I want on Christmas Day. I really don't watch what I eat. It's not like you have Christmas every day. I've always wanted to play on Christmas Day. I love the royal family. I even got up in the middle of the night to watch Kate and William's wedding, and I never miss the Queen's speech on Christmas Day. I feel it's my duty as an English-born woman to watch. I was born to a Hindu father and Muslim mother on Christmas Day. You can't get more secular than that. If you pray enough for things, I am proof that they can happen. I feel like a kid on Christmas Day now, every day. It's something I have wanted for a long time and I am as happy as anyone to be here. It is great to be back at my first love. May I share with you my earliest memory of a political row? It was with my mother, about the Queen, classic Freudian stuff, shrinks would say. I was 8, and refusing to watch the Queen's Christmas Day broadcast. It's difficult but most of us haven't had much time off on Christmas Day. I've trained on Christmas Day for God knows how many years and you just get used to it. I think it's important not to grow up too fast. I'm 26 now, and I still can't wait for Christmas Day. The inner 7-year-old isn't buried too deeply in me. Opening presents at midnight on Christmas Eve, midnight. As soon as it turns to Christmas Day, we're opening those gifts. I would work until I got stuck, and I would put it down and pick up something else. I might be able to take a 20-minute nap and get to work again. That way, I was able to work about 10 hours a day. It was important to me to work every day. I managed to work on Christmas Day, just to be able to say I worked 365 days a year. It's all about a beautiful table on Christmas Day. I put out lovely napkins and napkin holders, and maybe put a wreath in the center. I like to dish all the veg up into massive serving platters, for everyone to help themselves. It feels so abundant. Me and my girlfriend don't have any family in Ipswich, so we were thinking of what we could do to fill our time on Christmas Day. We thought about feeding the homeless and we phoned up the church that we eventually went to and asked if we could help. Adults are tempted to produce and perform Christmas for their kids and their families, and they arrive at Christmas Day weary and disillusioned. I could be imagining it, but I believe myself to have exchanged sly, understanding nods with other people I see attending movies alone on Christmas Day. Pfft, I hate Christmas Day. It's for children and families, not for people like me. I remember my first Christmas with Leeds, training Christmas Day. I wasn't old enough to drive yet, so I had to get picked up and taken in. I met Fred Rogers in 1998, when Esquire assigned me a story about him for a special issue on American heroes. I last spoke with him on Christmas Day 2002, when I called him to talk about an argument I'd had with my cousin. He died 2 months later, on February 27, 2003. On Christmas Eve, it's my wife and my son and my daughter and I. We're home, and we open our presents together on Christmas Day, and then after we go visit the rest of the family. The French take their festive platters seriously and spend lavishly on them. Christmas Eve, rather than Christmas Day, is when they tuck into the big family meal known as le gros souper or le réveillon. Traditionally, it was served after the return from midnight mass. On Christmas Day 2016, the greatest singer-songwriter of his generation, an icon of his era, George Michael, was lost. A supernova in the shining stars had been extinguished and it felt like the sky had fallen in. My father died when I was really young, on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is a big day for NBA basketball. One of the most glorious messes in the world is the mess created in the living room on Christmas Day. Don't clean it up too quickly. I was 9 or 10 years old and my father was sacked on Christmas Day. He was a manager, the results had not been good, he lost a game on December 22 or 23. On Christmas Day, the telephone rang and he was sacked in the middle of our lunch. My father was born on Christmas Day in 1934. He grew up in what is now part of North Korea. When the Korean War began, my father was 16, and he found passage on an American refugee ship thinking he'd be gone for just a few days, but he never saw his mother or his sister again. When I was younger, I'd always cry on Christmas Day, and I didn't know why. Now I know it's because I was just overwhelmed by the togetherness. It is hard if you have got family and kids and you have to leave them on Christmas Day to go and train, but listen, we are a small minority of lucky players. We have obviously worked hard for this, but we are lucky enough to have the ability to play in the Premier League. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.